Hi, good morning. Wow, super loud. I guess everyone's still sort of reeling from a bit of the excitement earlier this morning, and it's kind of fun to see so many of you guys here today. I'm Peter Hazlehurst. I look after the product management side of our payments group here at Google. And really excited to be here with you to talk about some of the new things that are coming from our Google Wallet platform, and in particular, some of the new APIs that we're launching today. What's kind of fun is that I've been doing this stuff for almost 20 years now, and I was reflecting on the fact that the last time my first piece of banking or payment software I wrote in 1993, and our objective then was to actually get rid of legacy software from mainframes that was 10 years old. And I was talking to my team who were preparing for a 20-year anniversary, and the software's still running. It's 20 years old, and now I'm the legacy developer. So it's kind of sad, kind of fun, and kind of interesting at the same time, but there you go. So anyway, it's a pretty exciting day here at Google, and there's a lot of things going on, and I want to get into some of the new stuff that we're bringing to market. Just as a little bit of a level set, one of the things that we struggle with in payments is getting people to change behavior and adopting new ideas and new concepts. And one of the things that we've noticed really interesting lately is the pace of change in mobile is really dramatic and really quick. One of the things we'd heard earlier is that people just wouldn't use the internet at all for doing financial transactions back in the late 90s. But that's moved on, and now pretty much everybody's using their credit card and making payments and doing stuff online these days. But it's even moving faster in mobile, and that's what's really exciting about what we're doing here with Wallet. So things are changing, things are moving really quickly. And what's really interesting is how mobile's changing all the different ways we interact and how we work together. I think perhaps most personally is the bathroom usage. And at our house, we made sure we had Wi-Fi access points with good range so that we could do work and keep going at the same time. But it's pretty interesting. As part of the payments team, one of the things we try and optimize for is making sure that the phones work in stores and that you can have a great experience shopping and looking for things and purchasing stuff. And what's unique about what we're doing is we're starting to see an incredible number of people looking for discounts and coupons and offers and savings and things like that with their phones. And so what's nice is that that's a level setter. It's a stage setting for some of the work we did and why we brought Google Wallet into the market. So Google Wallet is, as many of you guys know, an opportunity for the consumer to use their phone to make a payment. And we thought that the best way to do that was to couple things with NFC, where we actually have the ability to see and experience in real time a connection from the phone to the terminal and out into the cloud to make things happen. Google Wallet's been going really great. We're really excited about our progress to date. And as part of this objective, our first and foremost goal was to kickstart an ecosystem and to get things going. We were the first guys to make it happen. And it's kind of fun to see a bunch of our colleagues in the industry starting to catch on to what seems like a pretty good idea of making payments and doing fun things with your cell phone as a way to do commerce and things like that around the internet. So thinking about why this is so hard and what the challenges are, it's important to realize how many players get to participate in the ecosystem and how many different sorts of guys have a party and a role in what we do. And the real challenge here is, as part of Google Wallet, we have to bring all of these teams together to agree on standards, to agree on how transactions should process, to make things work together. And it's non-trivial because everybody thinks they own the customer. And everyone thinks the user is theirs. And at Google, we fundamentally believe you are the user and you get to choose, which is why it's kind of exciting to see a little bit more competition in the market, and people are more interested in giving different ways of paying with things. But it's nice to see that there's opportunity for lots of different people to participate in the ecosystem and still create great value for the consumer. But don't underestimate how difficult this is to get everybody from the banks to the people that make the phones to the retailers to put all of their different systems together and make it work. So talking a little bit about momentum, as I think you guys heard in the keynote, one of the things we're really proud of is the acceleration of NFC in the real world. And to give you a sense of what that looks like, when we kicked this thing off and we started thinking about Google Wallet back in 2010, there was a pretty small number of phones out there and a pretty small number of terminals. I actually remember working at Nokia when we launched one of the first NFC phones back in 2004. And, right then we thought the world was going to take on fire. It was going to be 3 years and there'd be tens of millions of phones out there. Didn't quite happen so much. But what I'm really, really excited to re-emphasize is we're now selling over or launching and adapting more than 1 million NFC phones a week. So the ecosystem's growing really fast, and the rate of growth is even faster than you would imagine. You can see the number of terminals that are available on a worldwide basis is growing really, really fast. And we're really excited about the fact that there's going to be so many more places that you can use your phone to make a payment and have things just work beautifully. In the last 2 quarters, we've launched 6 new phones powered by Google Wallet, and that's really exciting. And we think we've got tons more exciting products that are coming out towards the end of this year. So I guess then the next thing is, how have we been going? What have we been doing? In Google Wallet, there's been a bunch of excitement, a bunch of adapting and listening to consumers and to you, the developers, and everybody out there with our products. We pushed out 14 revisions in 9 months, largely in response to a bunch of consumer feedback of wanting to get better value out of their phone and integrating offers into the service. We added a whole bunch of new features and capabilities around transaction history and support of different sorts of experiences in the store. We listened and we learned to the complexity of making sure that the point-of-sale devices actually work in reality versus just in theory. And you just won't believe the number of challenges from the fact that some of the devices, while they have power on, aren't actually connected to anything. And so we had people tapping their phones and saying, "What's going on?" And literally it was like this, connected with power, but not actually connected to anything on the other side. So we've built a lot of smarts into the app to react to those situations. And as a result, the ability for payments to come through our system is improving day by day. We've also listened and adapted to the various concerns around the security of our products. And we still feel very, very confident that this is the safest way to pay and the best sort of solution for you as an end user to make payments in the industry. But what we wanted to do then, just very quickly, is give you a sense of how's this going with consumers. So we set up an event where we gave people a chance to try Google Wallet, and this is a little bit of the real-time feedback we've heard from them.
I can't wait. I am so excited about this. This is like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Wow.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool.
Damn! Thank you.
That's awesome. You guys.
Okay, OMG! Thank you, Google Wallet!
So the exciting thing is, and what we're key to do here at Google, is make sure we have magical experiences with consumers. And what we're getting out of Google Wallet is this sense that we're starting to deliver on some of the benefits to the consumer, that we can help them save money by discovering and using existing deals. We're giving them the way to store all of their loyalty cards and payment cards in the cloud. We're giving them the financial control that they want, and just this whole beautiful experience of when you tap your phone, the payment just works. But the challenge for us is dealing with the concerns that consumers have around security, and also dealing with the fact that it doesn't necessarily work everywhere. And so this is part of what we're trying to solve with Google Wallet and some of the new things we're doing. And one of the things we've started to do as we've adapted to the market is adapt to the fact that real world is really important, but people have told us they want to use their wallet everywhere. So we've pushed everything up into the cloud. Google Wallet in the cloud is now available so that you can do purchases all throughout Google on Play, Chrome Store. You can buy books, you can buy music, you can buy games. And it's also now available on merchant sites and in-app payments and other sorts of solutions. And you can see a little bit more demo of some of the new stuff we're doing with in-app payments later on this afternoon. Fundamentally, everything you do with Google Wallet is stored in the cloud, made available across all the places we make Google available. So going forward, we said to ourselves, there must be another solution and another concern. And the question is, how do you store things like coupons and tickets and gift cards and all of these other things that you keep track of in your daily life? And that's where we started to evolve Google. And what we wanted to start to focus in on is, how do I keep track of all of this information, and how do I make it easy to save it in my wallet? And that's what we're here to talk about right now. So we're talking about a new feature, a new capability called Save to Wallet. And Save to Wallet is a part of our platform, our open ecosystem, that makes it possible for you as an end user to save different pieces of content that you see around the net to your wallet and then use it in different places wherever you go. The implementation of which we're offering right now is 2 key APIs. First of all, for saving offers to your wallet, this is the ability to go on any website anywhere and save a discount or a coupon or some sort of savings, store it in the wallet, and if you need to, you can show and scan and make it easy for the cashier to receive it, or if you're a merchant and you know you support NFC, you can actually also save NFC-related offers to your wallet. So this is kind of exciting. And then we're also launching Save to Wallet for payment cards, which is even more interesting, but we'll get to that in a second. So let's talk about Save to Wallet for offers. In the past, we've had a pretty easy model for our own teams at Google to support putting discounts and savings in your wallet. And that's been working really, really well. But what we're excited about right now is the ability for you guys to offer the ability to save things on your websites, or as merchants, you could save it on your website too, and get it out onto into your wallet and then be used elsewhere across the internet. Why would you want to do that? Because it's a frictionless way of saving these offers to your wallet. It makes it really, really easy to redeem them and show them onto the merchant and make a transaction flow. And we're pretty confident about the redemption side of things, that it's going to work great. So what I'm going to do now is give you a bit of a demo of how this looks as an end consumer and set things up a little bit here. Oh, here we go. All right, so here's the deal. I have, some of you may know, I have just been blessed with twins about 18 months ago. And believe it or not, my wife, who's never seen Star Wars, named them Luke and Leia. And so Luke and Leia, my two kids, are particularly fond of pies and cakes and stuff like that. And I fancy myself as a bit of a baker, so I'm pretty keen to go shopping and doing baking and stuff like that. So imagine here I am on allrecipes.com, and I found this awesome example of a pie that I might want to make. And you know what? I was getting kind of in trouble a little bit because I turned 40, and I think life is sort of coming on the downslope. And it was kind of interesting, so I was thinking to myself, I don't really have time to make a cake. The team's keeping me pretty busy. So how about this? There's an offer here for some awesome Biscoff cookies. So I'm going to click on that offer. And what you can see here is an offer being presented out of the Walgreens website. And we're really excited about working with Walgreens and Biscoff to make this offer. And so you can see here, it's a pretty standard offer with a bunch of capabilities. And sitting down the bottom is this cool button called Save to Wallet. And all you do is you click on the Save to Wallet button. Not exactly rocket science. And as an end user, that's it. Done and dusted. And then you say, well, now what do I do with it? Well, I should have got an email here. Excellent. So you get a bit of a notification that something's happened in your wallet. And for what it's worth, these are real offers. So you can actually, if any of you guys have Galaxy Nexuses or other NFC phones, you can tap the offer downstairs and get a free awesome set of cookies. And then what happens is if you go into your wallet, and remember that whole thing where how we're nice and safe and secure, so I'm going to put in my PIN, which you guys can now have. This is not my phone. My phone is over there. I don't know how many guys have seen this stuff before, so I'll just quickly browse through a little bit of the capabilities. Google Wallet lets you have things like credit cards, and we also have a prepaid gift card. We can also store all the gift cards in there as well. We have rewards support, so you can store all your fancy reward cards that you use all the time, loyalty cards. We have transactions, and let me show you about the offers. So here you can see I've got the NFC offer here. You can see it's enabled for NFC. Do you guys see that? And I have nothing more to do than to imagine here I am walking into the store. I'll make a payment, and you hear the beautiful little W. Oops, sorry, a little bit off the screen. And there you go. So what happened was, transaction was transmitted from my phone, the offer was presented, the merchant accepted it, we've got a nice little geolocation on where the transaction occurred. I could write a note, give to the kids. This is not running Jelly Bean, which is why it doesn't do the predictions. All right? And that was it. Super, super simple. So that Save to Wallet button can exist anywhere on the web, and it will save it into a Google user's account, and then can be redeemed throughout the web. To prove that this was actually working and to prove that there's proof of life of Luke and Leia, I actually did an end-to-end test of the product, including live redemption. And you can see Leah there munching away on the cookie with her Google-branded sweatshirt on, which is awesome. The dog is in the background. He ate most of them. Anyway, so to give you a sense of what this is, it's really, really simple. All you need to do is drop in the button, snip it on your web page. If, as an end user, you weren't logged in to Google, and if you weren't running Chrome, shame on you, but if, in fact, you weren't running on Chrome, we'll pop up a Google login, so say if you're on your iPhone. We're going to then drop in a proxy iframe. We're going to log in and get a cross-site scripting token to make sure we're not getting hacked and so forth. And it's a simple API call, and you're done. It's really, really, really easy. And this is the critical point. What does it look like from a code perspective? Drop in the JavaScript. Easy, easy. Tell us a little bit about what the offer is that you want to do in a minimal renderable format. Pretty easy. Indicate whether you want to do something over NFC, and I'll show you what a show and scan version of that looks like. And tell us a little bit about yourself. Where's the information? And then at the bottom, don't forget to put the button on there. There's nothing else to it, guys. If you guys can't code this in half a day, there's something wrong. And just in case you wanted to do a QR code or a show and scan, under the type code, you just enter that information. Very, very easy. That's it. That's how you save an offer to the wallet. You make it super, super smart. And what we've suddenly done there is made it possible for anybody to put information into the wallet. This is part of a whole suite of APIs that we're doing to open up the wallet. Perhaps more interestingly is the fact that we're also offering Safe to Wallet for payment cards. And so think about this. Right now, we have millions and millions of users creating wallets throughout the internet for things like Google Play and so forth. And one of the things that we hear back from them is it's kind of a pain to add their credit card information and make sure that it's kept up to date with their bank. In our app, we'll actually disable a card that gets expired, things like that. And so what we tried to do is think about how could we do this better and different. And we've tested this out, and most people are really, really comfortable logging into online banking and to their credit card websites and things like that. And we said to ourselves, well, if they're already logged into online banking, why don't we take the idea of Safe to Wallet and put it inside online banking? So for example, we've partnered up with Discover to make a first example of how this is going to work. And the concept here is really simple. Again, the focus is on a very, very easy, lightweight button that you can drop into your app or into your website that allows information about credit cards and other sorts of payment instruments to be pushed into the Google Wallet. So let's have a look at what that does and how it works. Why would you do it? Obviously, because it's easy to get to as a user. And one of the things we heard from our banking partners is getting information into Google Wallet has been hard in the past. So we wanted to simplify things tremendously. So let me go to my awesome new Nexus 7. And in the spirit of somewhat of proof, I'm going to go to Google Wallet and make sure I don't exactly have one. This is the true demo test. You can see the login thing over here. OK, so we should be logged in. And oops, there we go. Let's have a look at my payment methods. You can see a bunch of credit cards, lots of different sorts of things. And no, it's not my full card number, so no, you can't go make transactions on my behalf. But you can see clearly no Discover card. So I'm going to go to Discover. And you can see they have a secure card logon. I will give you my username, just in case you wanted to do that. But I'm going to take the camera off screen for a second. Trust but verify. And for those of you that knew me from Yodlee, the password is not top secret 1. OK, there we go. So I'm going to log in now. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to this new tab. So sorry, just to make sure, a couple of credit cards, a few little transactions here and there. I'm going to go to a new tab. And I'm going to go and add this in a new tab. hopefully do that. Oh, can you feel it? Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so you can see here, right, we've got a landing page from Discover. And the reason we're using this file local address is just so you guys don't hack the new URL, which isn't quite public yet. But it is for reals. And you can see here, as a bank or an issuer, you get the opportunity to put some marketing information up, like what is it, why would I do it, what saves me time and money, and where can I shop? This is sort of an indicator of how to use Google Wallet. But I'm going to hit add your card, and hopefully it's going to then ask me, do I want to log in? And what it's actually doing here is it's asking me as an end user, do I give permission from Google to Discover to talk to my account through open authentication? So as an end user, you're always in charge, and this is the critical point. So we say, yep, I'm going to do that. And we log in. And there we go, done. Pretty straightforward. Theoretically, I got a message. I also got some Google Plus messages, awesome. There we go. You can see I added my card to my wallet. Great opportunity for banks and issuers to message back to their consumers about what's going on. And let's go over to play. Just prove that everything made it all the way through. I think you guys saw some of the new movies and TV, so let's go and see what we've got to buy. Loading, loading, loading. Let's buy some new TV show. I haven't seen The Walking Dead, so let's buy the whole season, see what happens. Why would you watch it in less than HD on your new Nexus 7? Okay, and we're going to do a little bit of work here, getting a list of all my credit cards and all of that sort of thing. Taking a few seconds. And I'm going to go to my Discover. And accept and buy. And that was it. Really, really lightweight, really, really simple. And we just did something that has sort of confounded the industry for ages and ages. How do you share information safely and securely between a bank or a credit card issuer and a third-party wallet, which is what Google Wallet is? All with the trust and all with the control in the hands of the user, not in the hands of the bank, not in the hands of anybody else but the user in charge. How does it work? Exactly the same way. Oh, slideware. How are we going? There we go. So we basically saw I was logged into online banking, pretty straightforward. We do a little bit of extra OAuth setup. So this is putting the user in control. So unlike saving a coupon or a cookie or something like that, we pretty much think saving a cookie is a safe sort of action. Pushing credit cards, things like that, a little bit more user control needed. So we'll give that to the user. We authorize the token. And then it's very, very simple. Again, you package up the instrument, the information you want to send to Google, and send it off to us. So what's it look like? Again, simplicity is the key here. A little bit of code here in an example in Python. So for those of you keeping track on different language styles, get some security encryption stuff set up. No big deal. Tell us what you're going to do. So we need to get information about what type of card you're going to add to the wallet, whether it's a credit card or a debit card or things like that, what sort of type of card it is. You'll notice that we're actually pretty keen on encrypting the card data. So if you send us card number information that's not encrypted, we're going to barf on that. And then we give you a little bit of opportunity to put some information around last 4 digits, expiration date, and so on. That's what shows up in the clear for the user, so that if they have lots of cards in their wallet, they know which one to pick. And then very, very simple, send us the request and get the response. Falls into the 1 to 2 days of integration time versus the 6 to 12 months traditional integration time for a credit card issuer or a bank connecting to Google. We think this is a huge, huge enabler and a way for consumers to get more information stored in their wallet in a safe and secure way where they get to control things. So you can imagine that this sort of first step with offers and payment cards isn't the end of where we're going with Safe to Wallet. And you should watch closely for new and exciting other sorts of content that you can save into your wallet really, really soon. We think that increasing the ability for consumers to get offers in their wallet is a key benefit for them. And we know that you guys have a lot of content that you'd like to push to them in terms of savings and discounts. But then going forward, adding the payment cards is one of the key barriers to, that we're going to lift that makes it much easier for the consumer to start getting their wallet and be active with it. And that's one of the key things we're focused on. So again, this is where we are today. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff that we're going to talk about later on related to commerce and other aspects of Google. And we've also got a bunch of new exciting announcements around digital goods that's coming towards this afternoon. And we're happy to come and redeem some free cookies for you later on. So thanks for your time. Very short and sweet, like the APIs. Wanted to make it easy for you to both consume the information in this session and almost get you back on schedule. So got a few minutes for questions if you guys have anything you want to know. Thank you. Hi, that was quick.
I have a quick question. You showed how easy it was to add a coupon. Can the business follow the follow-through? Where's the analytics on that? Would it be part of like the Google ad dashboard or something?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand the question.
So how can a business track how many people use those coupons? Is there
I see what you're
anything
saying.
like that?
Yeah, so there's an offers setup dashboard that it allows you to see all the different coupons and offers that you've made if you're doing it on Google and through Google, but otherwise you're just going to get redemption signals sent back to you afterwards. Yeah, hi.
Hi. Oh, sorry. Wow. I also work with the PayPal API.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if anybody here, because I don't think this is a question for you, but maybe there's some, you remember Google Checkout had an API too, right?
Yeah.
And PayPal allows a developer to make a payment, and some of it goes to the developer, some of it goes to the company, and like it's a three-way deal. And Google Checkout doesn't seem to have that ability. So I'm wondering if I could ask someone, is there any old Google Checkout API people
I actually
around?
don't know if there are any old Google Checkout
Or not
people here
old,
right
but I think...
But I think the focus is let's look on what the new stuff that we're making possible, and in particular things like in-app payments, which may be a solution to things you need. And if you want to come to our session or come to our sandbox, we'd be happy to talk to you in more detail about that. Thanks. Yes, sir.
Hi. Where exactly the information is stored? Is it on your cloud? I mean, all those credit card details and everything?
Yeah, great question. So the information is stored in the cloud and stored in Google data centers around the world. And so we make, that's how we can make it available throughout all the different places where Google Wallet is made for end users.
Could we get a physical printout of all the offers you saved in the Google Wallet?
As an end user?
Yeah, just to go to stores and redeem them, like all the Walgreens coupons or...
So I'm pretty sure you could print your screen from the website version of Google Wallet. So that we have a place where you can see all the offers that you had. And in addition, the offers also support show and scan. So if the merchant didn't have NFC, which some don't, that's okay. You just turn the phone around and show the coupon, and maybe it has the offer code and stuff like that. And they can just type it in and read it out. So yeah, we support that. Hi.
Can you speak for a second about the transaction information that you guys might have access to after someone processes this? You know, if this is integrated, a retailer decides to integrate it online, can you speak to sort of the data visibility you have into the actual transaction, items purchased or offers redeemed, that kind of stuff?
So I think if you're asking is, you know, are we looking at the data and understanding it and using it for ads and other sorts of things? And the way things work with Google Wallet is there's a general transaction store which is really focused on what the consumer can see. And then there's information that we'll give back to the retailer if they're the creator, if the transaction occurs in their context. And pretty much that's the sort of the continuum of who gets to see the information. We're very much focused on letting the user feel confident that the information we store is just for them and for their use. Okay? Yes.
Just a follow-up question on the last one. So is Google taking the responsibility in terms of the fraudulent use or whatever happens to those details or like wrong transactions or all those kind of things? Or how's it going to work out?
So sitting behind Google Wallet is all the classic security and fraud monitoring capabilities that we've had for a very long time. And we look and make sure that transactions seem good to us, and if they seem like they're going to be bad, we'll cancel them before they go through to the merchant, if need be. If the consumer has a problem, their recourse is they can call us, and we will see if we can help them. But ultimately, they can also call to a merchant and see if they need to solve the issue there. So we're not offering, so we're making it easy for the consumer to see with transparency, who's participating in the transaction, and giving them the access to the information they need to resolve their concern. Yes, sir.
I just got a quick question, clarification for the coupons. So you can offer it on your website, but the actual redemption only happens offline.
So the question is, you can offer it on your website, and the redemption happens offline. Yes, that's what's happening today. So you can imagine using your Google Wallet phone as a way to redeem that coupon.
I had a question about the point of sale or merchant side. Are there APIs available to integrate the redemption into a point of sale system?
There is actually. So we have another group in our team that works with the big point of sale retail software companies, and we'd be happy to talk to you about it. So we've got a deep integration already with IBM, for example. And that allows for complete understanding at the line item level, every transaction and each different SKU, and whether you get different reward points and so on based on that.
Great, thanks.
Sure.
Hi. If we lose the phone, how do we ask Google to wipe the data?
So right now, you just call 1-800, whatever our number is for Google Wallet, and they will do it over the phone. If you lose your phone, how would you call? Good question. You probably use another phone to call. Assuming you can actually call Google, then we can delete the data for you. And we're looking at new solutions in the future to make it easy for you as an end user to do it yourself.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Hi.
I was wondering if there are any more active ways with interacting with the customer, because the situation you described in the presentation was more like a passive one. The customer has to find this coupon on a web page somewhere, and if he saves this coupon to the wallet, then he can use it. But are there any ways for the retailer to shoot coupons to the customers who have checked in to the location or who are nearby?
Yeah, so it's actually, so I'm just demonstrating the sort of the normal, hey, I was searching for goods and services through the web, but the APIs aren't limited to that use case. You could totally apply it to, if you see a check-in in your store, you could push a coupon into their wallet. You could do that today. I think if you go to our booth downstairs, you'll see an example of tapping an NFC poster, and that pushes the coupon into your wallet. The API itself is very broad and generic. We're making it very easy to integrate in multiple different use cases.
Curious about the emphasis on the OAuth APIs to add your credit cards. Do you find users are not inclined to enter the data manually or take a photo of their cards and OCR it? Is that something users don't want to do?
So we find a couple of issues. One is it's just a pain, so it's an effort to do it. And discovering Google Wallet as an endpoint to do that, rather than being able to be in online banking and getting a notification that you can now push your cards into Google Wallet, actually creates another channel for people to be aware that Google Wallet even exists. And we focused in on simplicity, making it really, really easy. All you have to do is trust your bank, which you generally do, to Google, and then you're going to be able to push information. And the upshot of that is that the banks can also push changes. So if, for example, your card expires, or it runs out, or you get a new card issued, they can push the changes as well without you having to be involved anymore. And that's a huge advantage to consumers, because we see a lot of people with cards in their wallet that expire over time, and then when they're about to make a payment, they're like, oh, okay, I have to go and update it and make a change and things like that. And this keeps the issuer with a channel to communicate back. Cool.
Like somebody asked, the coupons are only for use for offline use. Are there any plan to make them available for online use? Like you get a coupon on a website and use it on another website, for instance?
Yeah, so we haven't announced anything in the area around what we're doing on the online side of things, but it's a key area of focus for us to make sure that the coupons and the offers that you save are available for use everywhere.
Thanks.
You mentioned and demonstrated the creation of a coupon on the web page. Would you mind going into more detail about how the redemption works, the recognition of coupons? So say I'm a retailer, I have a coupon. How do I know that that user has my coupon in their wallet? Can I look for other coupons from competitors in their wallet when they scan their card, when they scan their phone? How does that work?
So it's actually pretty simple in terms of the redemption path. So either because of tapping, we're going to push the coupon information through MyFair into the NFC terminal. Or if it's a show and scan type of thing, then the cashier is going to physically take an image of a barcode or type in the card number. So at that point, you as the retailer know this transaction has come through. Right now, we haven't made it possible for a retailer to look at what else is stored in the wallet.
So, but when I tap that NFC, do I have the coupon open on my phone already? Or does it just look at my coupons and go, oh, that's valid, I'll redeem that for you?
So let me make sure, can you ask the question again, sorry?
So I show up at a store with my phone,
Yep.
and I want to redeem a coupon.
Yep.
So when I get to the checkout, I just tap it on the NFC. Do I have to select the coupon I want to use first? Or does it figure out, based on what's in my wallet, oh, you're at Walgreens, here's this Walgreens coupon that you saved previously, I'll use that?
So basically what you're going to want to do is, choose the one that you want to be active at that point in time, and then it's going to be passed through.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, it doesn't look like we have any more questions. I really want to thank you guys for your time this morning and encourage you to come and check out some of the new ways to add information to your wallet. And then we're looking for feedback on other sorts of categories of information you want to store as we start to broaden this out and make it available across everywhere that Google Wallet's accepted. Thank you.